lot of the things are so great about White's dry suits, you're not really going to go, wow, because you don't have a perception of a dry suit today. But if I say the word dry suit, what would you think about?
Being dry.
Being dry?
All my friends who are warm and dry while I'm shivering in a 7mm.
Yeah. Any negative thoughts?
No.
Controlling your buoyancy.
Yeah, controlling your buoyancy.
That's all I can say.
So 3 things that I normally hear when I talk about dry suits is they're expensive, they're bulky, and they're hard to use. Okay, and all 3 are pretty true. You know, they're not the cheapest piece of dive equipment. We used to, like I said, we sell a lot of different brands of dry suits, and traditional dry suits we used to say, look, the first 10 dives you're going to do, we're going to absolutely suck. And then they go, great, so I'm going to spend $3,000 and I'm going to be uncomfortable for 10 dives, and then it's going to be summer again and I'm not even dry suit anymore. Great. White's look at a way to change all that and to make a suit that's not only affordable, but also really, really easy to dive. And traditionally, you know, having a lot of gas in the suit moving around, that's what sort of makes it hard to dive in a dry suit, I suppose. I'm going to go through the suit and show how we managed to get around that. But the other thing with dry suits, a big problem with them, have been the flexibility. So people go from wetsuit into a dry suit, and they would have to change how much they can move in the suit. So dry suits have been very, you know, like that, you know, and you don't have the same amount of movement. In a whites, you will have more movement than in a wetsuit. So when you try them today, I want you to sort of, you should experience 2 things. It should be as easy as diving in your wetsuit, if not easier, and you should have more movement than in your wetsuit. If we're talking 5 to 7mm, if we're talking 3mm or lycra, then you know it should be about the same. The whole concept of whites comes around having 2 different layers. Okay, one in the bag and one at its skin. And White's as a company was making traditional dry suits, you know, your normal tri-laminate dry suits for a very, very long time. Through acquisitions and then reacquisition of the company, they ended up in a position where they couldn't sell equipment into the dive market. So they had to start selling suits. They're made in Canada, so they had to start selling suits like paddling and kayak boarding and things like that. So they needed something with a lot of flexibility in it, and the traditional dry suit just wasn't flexible enough to paddle. So what they did, they took a normal dry suit, normal inner tri-laminate dry suit, made it really, really big. So imagine for you, we put you in a triple extra large suit, swimming, right? No restrictions for movement, but a whole heap of excess material. Then you put a skin on top that's made from lycra or neoprene that is almost a little bit too small, if not perfect for you. That's going to suck up all that excess material, which means that when you need it, stretch your arm, stretch out the material, and it goes back into place, falls back into place. So it becomes like, some of the really expensive dry suit has the telescopic torso. This becomes like a 3D telescopic, you know, however you move it, you're not going to get restricted. That was the idea behind it. They created it and they looked at it and they go, no one's going to buy this. And then they put a couple of valves in it and took it diving and go, this is unreal. This is going to work. And the fusion was born, so to speak, what we're looking at here. The 2 things that they didn't plan for that happened by default is that when you have all that excess material, put gas in your suit, the gas can't just rush down to your feet or rush up here or rush around like a normal dry suit. It has to go through all the crinkles and cracks, which means that the gas, when you put it in the suit, the gas management is a lot easier. And you don't need as much of it because you've got that spongy in there to avoid the squeeze. The other thing that sort of happens is that the inner bag and the outer bag, 2 layers. If you look at it, you think, okay, that's all great, but is it really durable? You know, especially the ones that we're going to have in the pool today, which is made from lycra. Lycra is not a very durable material, but because you have 2 materials on top of each other, so imagine, picture yourself sitting on the bottom Tweed River, on your knee, and a big swell comes in, right? You move with the swell. Or say you're in the Brisbane, in the wreck, in the surge, and you move, you're on your knees, you glide, right? But the suit stays put because of the two different layers. So you see what I mean? The friction, if that was a one-piece suit, whether wetsuit or dry suit, you now start scratching against and rubbing the material. Because of the friction, you don't get the same force and the impact. Another scenario, you're swimming through a wreck, get caught in your arm, in the skin, you keep swimming, you feel like it goes like this. And then you go up, and then you just undo it and you swim. If that was a normal dry suit, it would be whole, bigger, 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 and then you get really wet, and then you get a $4,000 bill to fix it. So it's actually more durable than a normal dry suit. And we've done loads of testing to prove it, like we're putting force, rubbing against a different material. People still sort of look at it and they're quite skeptic, go, yeah, but it's still Lycra. Like, it doesn't matter what you say to me, it's still Lycra. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not, you're never going to get the same leak as easy in that suit as a normal dry suit. And sometimes we put the materials, we put the inner bag and the outer bag into one and laminate it. And we give that to people, say, what about if we made a dry suit out of this? They go, yeah, awesome, that's what I want. You're like, well, that's what it is, it's just that it's two layers. So the demo suits we're going to use today, just got a Lycra skin on top of it. The ones that we sell, they got a little bit more neoprene reinforcements, and they also got pockets on them. That's the only difference. The seals, the ones you're going to use today has silicone seals on them. These got latex seals, okay? The silicone seals is great in terms of you can change them yourself. If you break a seal, you just have some spares in your bag and then you put another one on. It's a really simple process, but it requires you to have the spares. Otherwise it defeats the purpose. A lot of people buy that suit with the silicone and they go, oh great, because if they ever break a seal and then they break the seal, drive to the dive shop, buy the spares and then install it. Then you might as well get the latex because you can drive to the dive store and just put a new latex one on. So it's really for in-field repairs. So if you're going to go somewhere remote or so forth. And they're a little bit more expensive with the silicone because it comes with these big rings. But it all works well. We don't use any glue in these suits, so it's all heat and pressure welded together. A traditional dry suit uses a lot of glue. So, that's a positive for sure. The zipper is on the front. Goes down here. We've got a budget entry level one that has it on the back. Why is it better to have it on the front, you think? Yeah, absolutely. You can get in and out yourself. And also, the zipper is probably the most expensive part of the suit. No one really makes a good dry suit zipper because it's a bit of an oxymoron. Zips don't like to be dry. Right? It's very hard to make a zip that's going to stay dry because you've got everything against it, right? You know, it bends around and water tries to come in. If you have it across the back, your gear rubs against it, you know, it's a fair amount of impact against it here. Right here, you've got your BC, but your movements is like that, so it really just sits there in a nice and secure spot. So we find that the wear and tear minimizes by putting it in the front like the Star Trek sort of design, having it like that. But absolutely, you can get in and out of yourself, which is really nice. You know, you come back up on the boat, you can just open up and sit for yourself. The valves on the suit are Apex valves. Best valves you can have in the market, and pretty much every dry suit uses Apex, or there's 2 or 3 manufacturers, but most of the good ones uses Apex valves. Same as their regulators, you know, they're really good quality equipment. Okay, so because you haven't dived in a dry suit before, this valve here, we put gas in. Okay, why do we put air in the suit? Yeah, stop the squeeze. Otherwise, just like any airspace, when you go down, it's starting to start squeezing on you. So you got to add a little bit of air to offset that squeeze. The other thing that we do is of course we put a little bit of air in there. The air actually keeps us warm. Then we have to let the air out when we come up, just like what we do with our BC. The dump valve, you can have 2 different settings. You can leave it completely open, Now it's on automatic. It means that you just have to lift the arm to the highest place and it starts dumping in. If you close it, now it's on manual. Now you've got to press it, you still got to hold it up, but then you press it to dump the air out. I normally close it during the dive to avoid by mistake dumping the gas. And then when I get to the line, open up my valve and get ready to start coming up. So that's inflation, deflation. We can wear our wetsuit boots with these suits today that we got, no problem at all. You can buy specific boots that you can attach to the suit by Velcro. That's why it's a bit of Velcro at the bottom. Very nice. They come in two different models. The bigger ones, the rock boots, are great for shore diving, very durable, but you might want to test them before you buy them just to ensure that your fins are still going to fit you. Whilst the Fusion boot, here we go. So here's the Fusion boot. It's just like your wetsuit boots. This would fit any fin. So Dan got them set up here. This is exactly how I got mine set up in here. Dan, you got the little insert that came with this?
The slide inserts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're using those?
No, I found them a bit too, like they're okay to get the boot on, but then when you're trying to walk with stuff, it felt just a tad slippery. So
Yeah. The insert is just there to avoid the boot come off with you when you pull it out. You just lock the sock into place. The reason why I asked was I threw mine out and I thought, oh, it's this just probably to keep the shape when they're in the box, and I threw them out and then I realised later down the track I need them. Excellent. Any questions so far? I normally use a PowerPoint with this, so I'm jumping a little bit. Sizing. Okay, so real benefit with whites is because we overcut them and then put the skin on top. Sizing is really easy. We only make 6 different sizes. Okay, out of those, 5 different sizes. Out of those, 90% of the population fits into 3 sizes. Out of those 90%, 70% fits into the 1 size, men and female. Now I can dive in 3 different ones. I can dive in the small to medium, a little bit tight. The large, extra large is perfect for me. I can get into the 2XL, but it's a little bit big. But you see what I mean? It accommodates anyone because it's got all that material that the skin just takes care of. Putting them on is a little bit of a trick, and we're going to go through that one-on-one. But yeah, sizing is really easy. With the normal dry suits, say a company like DUI or Hollis or anyone like that, they would have 16 to 17 different sizes, and then made to measure after that. And most of them do half their business in made to measure. We do 2 made to measure suits a year maybe, and that's for like, you know, unbelievably odd shaped people that still want to go scuba diving. So yeah, we're really happy that, you know, with these 2 bags they can fit anyone that turns up on a dry suit day. When I worked for some other companies, we used to have a truck that we pulled up in just to fit all the suits. And it doesn't matter if you have 5 people coming, because you don't know the size they're going to be. You've got to bring all the sizes, right? So yeah. When you go for the dive today, just have a play with the inflation, deflation. Check how much movement you have and how it feels to dive with it. But it should feel as natural as possible. And obviously you should stay dry. You know, that's the whole idea. Cool. Should we get fitted up?
Right, yeah. We need to find with the crutches. So it's just like fit in the morning. You find your crutch and then you make sure that your feet's pointing the right way and then you're ready to go. Yeah. So feet pointing towards me. So now we're going to put your feet in all the way to the end. And then what I want you to do is keep feeding up, but from the inside. So it's just like you have to pop the feet in. And this is where, if you get this wrong, you end up with all the material down in your legs, and you look like a hand grenade, and it's not going to work.